When you have two ratios that are equivalent to each other, what is created is something called a proportion. So in this first problem, if we take the ratio 2 over 3.5, if it is equal to the other ratio 8 over 14, if this is a true statement, and we're going to put a question mark here because we don't know if it is yet, but if that statement turns out to be true, then it creates what is called a proportion. A proportion is two equivalent ratios. And as we've discussed previously, there are two different methods for determining if ratios are equivalent. One is by finding a common denominator, and the other is by using cross products. And in this particular instance, we're going to use cross products. And so what that means is we're going to take the numerator of the first fraction and the denominator of the second fraction and multiply those together. So we're going to do 2 times 14. And we're going to see, is this equivalent? Is this equal to taking the denominator of the first fraction or ratio and multiplying by the numerator of the second ratio or fraction, 3.5 times, oops, maybe I need to put that decimal point a little lower so it doesn't look like 3 times 5. 3.5, let's do parentheses just to really make sure, 3.5 times 8. Okay, so you may want a calculator here for the decimal at least, but 2 times 14 is 28. And 8 times 3.5 is the same thing as 8 times 3 plus 8 times 0.5. And so 24 plus 4, of course, is 28. So these two are equal to each other. The cross products are equal. So these ratios do form a proportion. These ratios do form a proportion. Okay, let's take a look at the second pair here. We've got 0.3 over 1.5, and our other ratio is 0.5 over 2.0. That those form equivalent ratios, or those form a proportion. So is the numerator of the first ratio times the denominator of the second ratio. So 0.3 times 2.0. Is that equal to our second cross product, 1.5 multiplied by 0.5. Okay, so 0.3 multiplied by 2, well, 3 times 2 is 6, and then we just move the decimal one place over, so 0.6. And 1.5 times 0.5 means what is half of 1.5? That is 0.75. And these cross products are not equal, so these ratios do not form a proportion because the cross products are not equal. These do not form a proportion. And so that's how we use cross products to determine if two ratios are equivalent and two equivalent ratios form what is called a proportion.